Wyclef Jean, BKS1 Radio. Let's go.
This is Essence Atkins, and this is BKS1 Radio.
Hi, this is Melba Moore, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio.
Yo, check it out. What's the deal? This the chef. Giving a big shout out to my peoples. Big KS, you already know what it is. Salute.
What's up? It's your girl Monifa, and I'm hanging with BKS1 Radio.
Hi, I'm Iyanla Van Zandt, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio.
BKS Radio, baby.
Hey, this is Jasmine Guy for BKS1 Radio.
What's going on? This is Lamont Rooker, and this is BKS1 Radio.
Shout out to BKS1, the best kept damn secret in the business.
Hey, what's up? This is Raven Goodwin from BET's Being Mary Jane, and shout out to BKS1.
Hi, this is Leon, and you're watching BKS1 Radio.
BKS1. God bless y'all.
Hello, and welcome to BKS1 Radio. It is the Owwh Show. It is your girl Chanel, of course, here with my bestie, Miss Queen B, who I haven't seen in the studio. Obviously, you all know I've seen her outside of, quarantine and everything, but who I haven't seen in the studio for what, 3 months now, 4 months now?
Yes, OMG, yes.
Are you missing the studio like I am?
I am.
All right, well, we got to get back in there as the world open back up. But in the meantime, you guys have been here with us every single Tuesday from 7 to 8:30, and all know what we have been discussing. So we have been discussing, the African American agenda. How do we push it forward? What is it that we need to do? And we've had a number of great guests in with us, on a weekly basis. But before we get into the heavy, Queen B, how you doing?
I'm good. Feeling good. Great.
You took a nap today?
40 years old, you have to take naps now.
Right. Okay.
You have to. And then I sit at the edge of the bed and I sit still and I wait for everything, my faculties and everything to come in, and then I get up. It's like an old Buick. Then I get up.
Like
that's how it goes now.
Okay.
Something hurts every week. Something different, Don't get old. It's like, no, I'm kidding.
Listen, I know I took a nap today if I had to, and I answered a couple of emails, then took a nap, then got up and ate, and then I laid back down.
So you did absolutely nothing today.
Do that. I did some things today, and then back up again, and then showered. And
so
then
you were an hour productive today, is what you're saying?
You know what? You see. Okay. Listen, so let's get to our guest because you acting up already in front of but let's get to our guest. So before we get to our big guest for today, let's get to our somewhat big guest today. So Mr. Green, Mr. Yusef Green. So everybody who watched the show when we did it a couple weeks ago and we were talking about the American agenda. Mr. Green, you were on the show, so welcome back again. How are you today, sir?
Thank you for having me. Greetings to everyone on the panel, to the audience. Cheruti Heru Nebuhu.
What? Okay.
Sorry. Okay.
Greetings,
brother.
Right, with that. You're gonna have to teach me that one with that salutation. I don't. What is it? Okay, right. We'll do that one later. In the meantime, though, I'm going to say one of my first interviews here at BKS1 Radio. I actually told the story a million times over. I came into the studio with a friend, and I was supposed to be a visitor, and that night one of the girls didn't show up, and my big brother Norm, whom I didn't know at the time, said, you can do this? And I was like, of course I can do this with my eyes closed. And I really couldn't do it with my eyes closed, but I had to say that so he could be like, go ahead and try it out. But anyway, that night we had a guest in studio. So my very first interview, everybody, was this beautiful specimen you see here, Miss Ricky, and she was there with Ray, and they were promoting Man of the House play.
Yes.
Now had I don't know how many runs and how many tours 6-7 years later. But again, she was my first interview, so I got to cut my teeth on that one. And Norm decided to keep me, so now we're, all these years later now, and I'm still here. But either way, welcome back to the show. You are definitely not a stranger to the station at all. Pretty Ricky and Jarrell. Am I saying Jarrell? Is it Jarrell?
Yes.
It's Pretty Ricky and Jarrell. Welcome to the Owwh Show. I'm gonna go ahead and clap you up. Normally we have a sound system.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here. BKS1. You guys are family to us. Storm Norm, Big Bro. I'm not certain of why you guys would have us on with the other strange gentleman, Mr. Green. That's weird, but no, we're actually good friends. He's family. That's like a big brother to me. And so this is all really cool to be a part of this. And I love that you guys are bringing this to, bringing this, talking about our culture, things of that nature, like bringing awareness to what's going on. This is awesome. So thank you for having us.
All right. Okay. So listen, we're going to go right on ahead and get right into it. So again, a couple of weeks ago, we started the conversation. Well, we've been talking about, first we started talking about COVID, and then we fast forward and we started talking about George Floyd and all of things that happened in the midst of George Floyd's murder. And we began to talk about civil unrest. We began to talk about racial injustice, police brutality, and our conversations have run the gamut. We kind of settled on the topic of conversation of, as African Americans, as Black people, what it is that we want here in America and what it is that we want American citizens. So you see in all the campaigns on social media that Black lives matter, Black dreams matter, Black hopes matter, Black joy matters. See all of that. And while all of that matters, and while we are all fighting for change, we've been fighting, but we're just getting a spotlight on it right now. As us, if we had a time, if this was like a relationship and it was like, what, go over here and you get yourself together, and I'm going to go and get myself together. If we all come together and have a meeting as a whole, the question is, what is it that we want as a people? What do we want as African Americans here in this country? So whoever wants to chime in and go first, you guys go ahead and we'll go from there.
Well, I'll start because I am very vocal and I am a little bit radical. I was born and raised in the Nation of Islam, so I think a little bit differently.
My girl.
But I am a Christian now, but I do have that militant background. Honestly, I feel like, it like we shouldn't have to tell you what we want. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you can see what we need. It's not necessarily a want, it's a need. We need to have our community intact. We never had that. So, and that looks like, we've never had, well, we had Black Wall Street, but that was real quick. And it was, taken away from us. And we were never able to, for whatever reason, rebuild. So, I mean, I think we need to have that in every community, like in every state, every region. We need to have our own, because anywhere you go to LA, they got Chinatown. You go to Cali, they got Chinatown. They got this, that, and the third. Everybody else has their own. We don't have, ours is called the ghetto. Why? Like, you know what I mean? So we need all of these things. We are so broken as a people. We have been so beat down as a people. People were born free, right? Not us. We are born in debt. As soon as we come out, for the most part. Who wasn't born in debt? I think Blue Ivy. And other than that, you know what I mean? Like we were born survivors. Like, I'm tired of us just surviving.
Right.
It's
So
time to live.
What'd you say, bro?
To live, not just to survive. It's time to live.
Absolutely.
And that's what's wrong with us. We are literally just known to, or adjusted to surviving.
Right. Paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
We pass nothing down to the next generation. We pass recipes that cause high blood pressure. I'm over
Sneakers.
Oh, sneakers. No, we don't. Because then we don't take care of them.
The black community, the black community is turned into an abused girlfriend for this nation, right? That here's what I'm going to give you. But I'm going to beat the crap out of you. I'm going to beat the crap out of you every chance that I get, every chance that I think you stepped out of line, and then I'm going to pacify you.
Right.
I'm going to give you a couple of dollars. I'm going to give you a day in February. Oh yeah, y'all real mad right now, and y'all walking around. So now we're going to give you another day in June that we'll think about remembering next year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So we've turned
all in the midst of gaslighting. All in the midst of gaslighting. You know, that's not your reality. What do you mean? I didn't know that you guys were still dealing with that, you know? So I didn't know.
You know what? I am going to be honest with that, though. Like, out of sight, out of mind, so to speak. So I know I travel for a living. And so I see things differently. Like, I go into different parts of the country, and you know, you'll be in LA or New York, and it's not very, very prominent. But when you go down south, it is so heavy. It's like you're driving past Trump, Confederate flag, and it's like, whoa, it's blatant. And I think some of us are far removed because, you know, we are educated now. We are this and we are that. Get pulled over. So I think now what's happening is we are upset and we are tired, and it's about time that I'm proud of the youth. I am so proud of them.
Oh, me too.
I was mad at them for a long time. I'll be mad at them because they don't wash the dishes and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I'm proud. I am so proud of them. This generation that's coming up. I guess, you know, we raised them off of Nuck. What is it? Nuck if you buck. I sound so old. I'm old. Okay. You know, and they have, for the lack of a better term, they have the galls and the balls to, like, you know what? No, we're not standing for this. We're not taking this. We're not our ancestors.
Mm-hmm. And surprisingly.
But we do need to do things smart. And I think because we are attacking the police and, you know, trying to defund the police, I think that we as communities, we need to step up and start to figure out how to police our own.
So let me just chime in really quick. So you weren't on the show last week, Pretty Ricky, but I started basically with the same thing as you. I am a Christian Muslim. I have a strong Muslim background, and I tell everybody I'm not a Martin Luther King girl. I'm a Malcolm girl. That's who I am. That's who I am. And that's just it. So when I say I'm tired, I'm like, I'm tired to a point where I'm not doing all of this I love the protesting. I do. I love the protesting, but we've done all that. You know what I mean? I also want to say that it's funny that I had the same thought, and I had this conversation yesterday, that I'm very proud of the millennials. I am proud because they literally are the ones that are like, look, I'm not my ancestors. I'm not, you will not do this to me. I don't care, if you, in order to get respect, you want to give it, or I'm going to take it, right. And I appreciate that with them. I wanted to, because you brought this conversation, kind of segue on what we were talking about was, do you agree? What do you think about defunding the police? And, what's your take on that altogether? Both of you, Jarrell and Yusef, you can add as well.
No, I'm good. Let the men be.
Brother Yusef is quiet. So, defunding the police. I think that defunding the police has to happen only with a plan and as a recourse. By just saying that we're going to cut a budget, which is what they're talking about, overall, does no good, right? It still doesn't send the message of wrong equals less money, right? It just sends the message of, do we need less police? Because the less money we have, the less people we can pay, right? For me, I have friends who are police. I have family who are police, right? So it's not F the police. It's F the bad police, right? And just defunding doesn't equal to me in my brain consequence repercussions. It just means, hey, we got a lot of police that we're paying out here. But to me, it needs to be strategic, right? Some of the police officers that are being found to have wrongdoing, let's start removing pensions. Let's get to the families who are affected. Let's pay medical bills with your pension. Let's see what that does to the other police's mind frames, because a lot of police, keep it above, they don't get paid a whole lot.
No.
For the job that they do, they don't get paid a whole lot, but they stay in the job for the life after a police officer. Their benefits, their pay continues even after the age that they can retire. That's why they stay in. You start touching that with, okay, you got to work longer. You got to go find another job to be able to survive after you're no longer a police officer. You're going to start rethinking about, should I do my job properly? You know what I'm saying? I go to a job every day that I have an understanding that if I don't do my job properly, I could get fired, I could get fined, my paycheck is going to end, and the contribution to my 401k that the company makes is going to end as soon as I get let go. It doesn't happen at the police force. There's another level of almost invincibility, that I'm a police officer, I carry a gun and nightstick, so I'm invincible even beyond me being on the job with my pension. All right, they might let me go, but I'm gonna go to the next county over and I'm gonna get another job, and my pension is gonna continue. So start hitting in a point where it's strategic as opposed to just defunding the police stations where we just got less police on the ground.
So I wanted to add really quickly.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I wanted to add really quickly, and you guys can talk after this, but I think defunding the police, I think it should be done. I think compartmentalizing what the police do, because there are so many times when they are called to do mental health and they don't have degrees, right? So they don't have a background in mental health. They escalate a situation instead of de-escalating. There are times when people literally have winded up dead, and they may have had a manic episode or something like that. So that bothers me, period. Everything you said is accurate. I have a lot of police in my family, direct family. So I'm with you. It's not F the police. It's none of that. But it is, I need you to do your job in the way that you should be doing your job. This is the job where you are 25 and done. You can do 25 years and be done. So if you start at 25, you could be done at 50. You could have a whole nother life and another career. Some people, like you said, they stay on, they make more money, then they retire, whatever. Like you said, and I'm just, piggybacking off of what you said. These lawsuits, that doesn't affect them. It's not paid by them. It's not taken out of their check. They get a slap on the wrist. And like you said, sometimes they will do something at one department, retire. And I know this to be true. They retire or resign. I'm sorry, should I say. They resign so they won't lose their job, there, and go to another and do the same exact thing. So I think that everybody is mad. Oh, you shouldn't defund the police. But if you do it in the correct way and compartmentalize every single thing that they do, you understand? Like, they should not be called. It's just certain calls should be certain things, right. and maybe, and just one plus to them is, no, you can't handle that because you don't have a degree in that. You should not be there when somebody's having a manic episode, schizophrenia, or anything like that. Anxiety or depression or that. You're not skilled for that. So defunding, I totally agree with.
Go ahead, Mr. Green.
I think slightly overlooking something in all of this. What undergirds all of this, mental health, the way the police respond to urban Black youth, is the economic wealth gap. If we defund the police, right, we still have these communities who don't have anything. They don't have any opportunities. They don't have any, they don't have any money. So they're going to still be committing the same crimes. The mental health is still going to be magnified by their socioeconomic status. You got to have something. If you're not simultaneously dealing with that and the police reform, then you're not, you're pissing in the wind.
We have to simultaneously deal with so many issues. We have so many issues. I mean, not just the police officers. What about the women who are calling the police officers on the man that didn't do anything? And you know what I'm saying? Like, or the woman who doesn't let the man see the kid, or you know what I mean? Like, so there's or the guy who doesn't take care of his. So in the community, we have so many elements that are broken.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to simultaneously do all of these things. Like, so protesting isn't enough. Defunding the police isn't enough. Reparations isn't enough. We need everything all together. How does that work?
So you're talking about, and like you said, the women who are calling police, and then also the Karens. Can y'all please delve into that?
No, screw the Karens. The Karen thing pisses me off. It blows my soul because y'all just not realizing we got Karens out here.
Yeah.
Karens birthed Trump. Y'all looking at Karens like, oh, well, why are they like this? They the root of it all. The Karen gave birth to Donald Trump.
Well, I mean,
they run it.
Speak on it, sister.
So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not, all right, we bringing attention to the Karens and this, that, and third, and calling them out, so forth and so on. That is a law that needs to be put in place. Where we're, and it's across the board. Where we're
It's only in states. It's not across the board right now.
But I'm saying it should be across the board. That if you're making false allegations, that you will be held accountable for, whatever, or there will be a penalty for you. But what I'm talking about is, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about us.
Oh, you talking about in-house? You talking about us?
I'm talking about cleaning in-house.
In-house.
I mean, that's a problem we have. We're so concerned with everybody else, what everybody else is doing, and blah blah blah. Yo. Some stuff don't concern y'all. Some stuff like. Some of the things, like, I appreciate all of the people of other nationalities who are standing up in other countries and here and that are standing up and protesting with us, and they feel our pain. I love them. Thank y'all so much. We need y'all too. But some stuff, come in the house.
I said that.
I can't have company today.
You know what? And honestly, and that is the point of us having these conversations. I think we all know that Karen's tears run the world. I mean, it is what it is. Karen's tears run the world in corporate.
And Ken.
Right, Karen's tears run the world. Period.
But Karen, y'all sleeping on the women. We run this. We set the tone for everything.
Mm-hmm.
So Karen, she been setting the tone.
Right.
She the one who told y'all who stay in the house, who get out the house and pick the cotton. She did all of this stuff. Karen, don't get it twisted. Just like we run stuff, just like Coretta did stuff that y'all, you know what I'm saying, that wasn't televised or publicized. We looking at Martin. We looking at the Donalds. We looking at it's the women.
The backbone.
It's us. So what do? We got a clean house.
And that, like I said, that is the point. And I completely agree with you. We don't have to really focus on Karens. We know what they do. We know what they're capable of, and we know what they're in control of. Right now, the purpose of us having these conversations is what can we do? We have the youth right now.
I think first we need to hone in and be very strategic and surgical about our needs and wants. We are too divided and split up on what we really need. Mm-hmm. We got to have a focused agenda.
Right.
Totally agree.
You know what I'm saying?
So let's start now. It's 7:26. Mr. Green, needs and wants. Give me 3. Let's go.
Needs. We got to rebuild and refocus on rebuilding the family, because that is the foundation of the community. We got to do that. We have to focus on gaining ground or gaining hold of our politics and economics. And number 3, we must support a culture that will further the continuance of these values. That's my 3 needs.
All right.
Well, we want reparations. We want what is owed to us.
That's 3. She said 3. Can you count? We need to. Okay.
That was my wants. That was my 3 wants and needs. Wants and needs are different, right?
I know they are, but she categorized them together. 3. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. You said yours?
Oh, I didn't know needs and wants were the same thing. Continue.
Yeah, it is today. Ready? No, I'm messing with you. I'm with your wants. You said, okay, so the 3 needs and then the 3 wants?
Yes.
What?
Go ahead, Seth. I was listening. I was just messing with you, bro.
Go ahead.
So yeah, what we want is reparations reparations.
All three of them. All three of them.
Okay. All right. Ricky and Jarrell, let's go. Needs and wants.
He basically said it all. Go ahead. You go. Go ahead, eat, man.
So now one that I would add, because I definitely agree with starting with, right? Because you start looking at statistics of African American children who are without a father, and this is just coming from my perspective as an African American father. You look at the amount of kids without a father present, and then you look at the amount of crime that happens in the Black community. It's a very eerie ratio that happens. Starting there with the family, like Seth said. But one thing I think we need is for those of us, because I do think that that African Americans economically have come much further than we give ourselves credit for. There's a lot of us in many neighborhoods. Now, we still have our areas where it's poor and we're not, but there are many of us who have advanced the economic climate right now. I'm doing far better than my parents did.
Absolutely.
So we have pushed that needle. But I think what we need to do is, although we have to go out there and get a check, we have to take our expertise and bring it back into our community. Right? We spend far too many hours going to the outside community, going to a job just to make money, that we don't bring our expertise and our knowledge to our own community to support our agenda. At the onset of all of this, I had a conversation, I think it was on Facebook, I don't know, I had a bunch of conversations where someone asked the difference or brought up the idea of, or the question of, how did the LGBT community push their agenda so far ahead versus where the African American community is? Why? Because they banded together. They had people in certain places that were a part of the LGBT community, but instead of them just working there, they were there to push their agenda inside certain places. So you had people in government, you had people in different sectors that had this expertise, but they used it to push that agenda. That way they had already infiltrated for certain places. There was nothing that the U.S. could do about the LGBT community pushing their agenda. We don't do that. We're so focused on economic growth of ourselves and in our house. Can I buy my kids some Jordans for their birthday, for school, and for Christmas? Can I get a new Benz next year because that's what I'm saving up for?
Yeah.
So that's our mindset, that can we get these things, and then we yell and scream and complain when the agenda doesn't get pushed because we've only used our knowledge and intellect for getting things. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that I think we need. Basically, use your intellect, use your gift and expertise to push the agenda of the things that we want, and stop just complaining about it. What do we want?
Wait, were there any? Would you guys have any additional ones?
I'll give you like two, because I feel like they pretty much touched on a lot of the things that I wanted to touch on. I definitely know that we need financial literacy. It's one thing to be able to, because we're hustlers by nature. We came out surviving. So it's one thing to be able to hustle and get it. Now what? So I think financial literacy is major. We need to figure that out. I had a whole bunch of them. Somebody else go. I'm slow, y'all. I'm a little special. So don't do that. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's company. Don't. All right. Financial literacy. We definitely need to tap into the mental health. We have been abused for how many years? And it's been passed on to generations. We sitting here right now trying to unfold, some of the things that were passed on to us. Like I have my grandmother's temper, you know what I mean? And so like we deal with things of that nature, and in the Black community, it's almost taboo to talk about therapy.
Yes. Oh, that is Queen B. Go ahead.
And what more?
Wait.
I'm sorry. I had a great. I remembered it. I think we definitely need to tap into the youth and with education. So I know oftentimes, because we are coming from the worst districts, we get the worst education. And then we get the worst of their education. So we're not even getting our education. We're getting the worst of their education. And this is, I don't know if I should talk about it, but like I would love to see in the future, this is a want of mine, this is a dream, where we incorporate the HBCU type of learning and environment into something so small as like our daycares and our elementary schools and our middle school. Like we start grooming them. They have Jewish schools and all of these different schools that we send our kids to Jewish schools. What are you? Are you a Christian? What are you? Are you a Muslim? What are you? So you're paying for Catholic school?
Catholic school, yeah.
That's crazy to me.
You know why?
Insane.
We actually talked about that a couple weeks ago on the show. So, for instance, everybody laughs at how we watched, my big fat Greek wedding, and the little girl didn't want to go to Greek school. We talked about how Jewish people, have their own schools, and how when they turn 18, they take trips over to Israel. We talked about every other culture outside private school education. They have a cultural school where you get to learn about who you are, where you come from, what people of your race did, and we are one of the only people that don't have it. So not only do we not learn it in school, we don't learn our history, we learn history from their perspective and what they saw and what they wanted us to know. And it's come to a point now that there are enough of us that know enough at this point in time that we need to be opening our own schools. So we need to have the Latoya Ricky Jarrell Steph School of Learning for African Americans and Black people that want to come. Like, it could be called that. You understand what I'm saying?
No, seriously.
And we need to start from the beginning of time, then go through the middle passage, and then go to what life was like for us here and beyond. But it has to be learned because we need to know who we are. There's so many of us. We can't even say it's just the youth that don't know who they are. It's so many of us in our generation. It's so many of us that are older that don't know. So we need it. We're well past time. Like
I want to say a couple things. I mean, you guys have pretty much summed up everything I wanted to say, but what I wanted to add was that African Americans are isolated from the access to critical resources, right? So we don't get the resources and things that other cultures get. So I'm a nurse, so I see that we get the bottom of the bottom. Let's just be real. Most of us have had or have Medicaid, right? That is the bottom of the bottom. So we are unable to have things tested, the way that we should when it comes to anything. We die at alarming rates. And I'll say the Black female does. I'm gonna be honest with you. The Black female dies at alarming rates because of just one, the way we are caretakers, we don't take care of ourselves, but two, because we're so busy taking care of family and doing whatever. But three, we don't have the access to, healthy food. I'm gonna say that food. We don't have I just want us to have access to preventative care, healthcare. We don't have a lot of that. Y'all know that. We have what, fibroids, we die.
We're the highest
childbirth. We're dying at alarming rates for childbirth. So that's just health.
Just ask what that is about. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm going off on a whole
because
tangent.
when seriously, and I just want to say this. There are a lot of times when Black women say that I'm hurting, or the fact that sometimes we don't show signs of hurt because we're strong, right? So a lot of times we get overlooked, or they think that, let me just, other side of it is when we do say we hurting or whatever, is, oh, she just being overly, whatever. So they don't pay attention to, look at Serena Williams. She's a prime example. Had she not had told them, wait a minute, something's wrong with my body, she had a blood clot. She would have died. And it's so many people like that. So what I want for us is preventative healthcare. And I'm not leaving the Black man out. I'm just telling you that I see, because I am a nurse, a lot of women die at alarming rates. I want that. I want us to have sustainable employment. I want us to have quality educational opportunities. I want us, and you brought up the HBCU. Why are the doors closing? Why is there no funding? I have a problem with that. When we were growing up, y'all remember we watched Living Single, we watched the Cosbys, we watched everybody. They were just you wanted to go to school. Hillman wasn't even a school, and I wanted to go to Hillman.
That's what made me want to go to college. I'm like, oh.
You know, but the educational opportunities, a lot of times, let's just be real. If our kids don't get financial aid and for some reason we don't get whatever, we already come out with a whole bunch of loans. Some of us can't even take out loans. They deny you. So guess what? Where our kids are working. They're not in careers or jobs in which will be beneficial to us in our wealth, in our asset building, and all of that stuff.
They're surviving.
So let's just be real.
They're surviving. They're not living they're graduating high school to survive. That is what's happening. They're not.
We need these things to have a thriving community. Those are things that are vital to our success. That's what these things are, what's vital to us. I want all of that. And to sum it up, I just want what y'all got. That's it. What you get next?
I want what's fair. We want what's fair. That's it.
Y'all got stable housing. Y'all got houses that y'all could. We want that too. We want safe environments too. You know?
How can you say on your mark, you said go? Y'all already
totally behind.
Y'all been going. We waiting for y'all to say go. Y'all been going. Well, I'm done. We done.
Wait. You forgetting something, Miss Ricky. I'm sorry, Miss Pretty Ricky. After they said go, and then way beyond us, they set the booby traps.
Right.
Go ahead and preach.
Right.
Go ahead and preach.
They setting the booby traps. So not only do they have a 400, not only do they have a 200-year start. Now they set the booby trap.
Right.
You know, they got the black laws, the Jim Crow laws, the redlining, whatever have you, the nepotism, the racism, all of that. So how are you to catch up?
And then we're gonna put guns in your neighborhood. And
drugs.
We're gonna put drugs in your neighborhood, crack y'all mamas out. We're gonna lock your daddies up.
That's the booby trap.
White collar crime that that's what we do.
That's what's killing me right now. Is that
and let me add though, because you're always going to have opposition to forward progress, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going back to what some of you have said earlier, we can't worry about the Karens and all of that. They're going to be who they are. We have to look for self and we have to start pouring into ourselves. Those who make it got to reach back and pull people up and in.
Each one teach one, right?
Go ahead, Brother Gerard.
That's what I was talking about bringing your knowledge, your expertise, and your resources back to the community. One of the highest, just because I friends who go there, one of the highest alumni contributors to Duke University is a Black man. One of the highest alumni contributors to Stanford is a Black man, right? So we're talking about HBCUs. Where are you bringing your funding to? Right. Actually, Seth and I and one of our friends were having a conversation a couple of weeks ago about HBCUs and why our Black kids, the ones who bring all of this notoriety to a lot of these schools, the basketball players, the football players, so on and so forth, don't go to HBCUs. So we were having a conversation and we kind of rounded it up to, well, are HBCUs actually ready for that caliber of a player?
Absolutely.
Right? Because the player goes to an HBCU, they see, you know, we actually brought up, I forget what school we brought up, one of the schools that one of our friends went to, and said is basically in the middle of the ghetto. So a black Division I prospect athlete goes to the HBCU school that's in the middle of the ghetto And then he goes to Duke University, who's on this great, luxurious, wonderful campus. Which one is he going to choose?
Absolutely.
That happens because no one's giving back and helping to fund these schools so that they can move, so they can build. So that
that's the problem I have.
Writing to our people.
But it's showing. This is. I'm listening to you, and what I'm gathering is because I've gone to different events with people who've had Harvard degrees and this and that, and I'm in the same building as you. I'm in the same meeting as you with my little HBCU degree. But I think what's happening is when you're in that said school, you have the connect. HBCUs, you don't necessarily have the connect. Why? Because we are of color.
Can I just tell you too, Jarrell, just to piggyback off of what you said, not only that, when they go, so like you said, they'll, the HBCUs are in the hood. They'll go to Duke or something like that, and they will set them up. Okay. They will set them up. They will not struggle there at all. In no way, shape, or form. They do not struggle in anything. They got the best sneakers given to them. They got the food.
But that's our problem. That's what he said earlier about pacifying us. Like, oh, here, take this.
Yeah, because you're gonna play for us.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're gonna make us money.
No,
and you're gonna make us money.
What I'm saying is that's how we were treated. Like, oh here, what you gonna do for me? You gonna dance?
Mm-hmm.
Or you gonna play ball?
Mm-hmm.
Or what you gonna do for me? Oh here, I'm gonna dangle this in front of you. Instead of us, like mom and dad, he gonna get all the money. He gonna go over here. Nah, we need to struggle as a community real quick. And whoever that gotta be, whoever gotta sacrifice, oh well, you be all right.
But would we really? Who's
gonna do the sacrificing? Who's gonna sacrifice so that we can move up, so that we can do our purpose?
But would we really struggle, Pretty Ricky, if we banded together? Would the HBCUs be suffering? Would the same kids that choose to, if we did? I'm gonna be honest with you. I've seen where they said such and such gave 10 million. Such and such gave, 500. Where is the money? Where is it going? Where is it?
Those schools are in this, like I said, we start.
Hold up. Let's be real. You know where the money's going.
No, we know that.
No, I'm not acting. It's like a rhetorical question. It's not,
We know that. We know it's greedy.
Hold up. It's a rhetorical question, but we have an audience out there who those may not know where the money's going to. So let's be real.
Okay.
It's going to the administrative staff. The bonuses.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The salaries.
So that's what I'm saying. There should be some struggle somewhere. Somebody has to eat something. Somebody has to eat something, and it's not going to be as comfortable as it would be at maybe a Harvard or a Princeton. We're gonna have, you're not gonna have fluffy grass, and you might sleep in a twin bed at first. But that's what I mean by we're gonna struggle. Not meaning like, oh, it's gonna be so hard. Yeah. Nah, bro, that's what you come from. Let's go. Come in.
I mean, I do think
a lot of people scared to be black, man.
But you know, I think that what's going on in the world right now. And it kind of goes in tandem with what we said about this next generation, being proud of this next generation. Right now, we have, I think he's the #1 prospect coming out of high school that went on ESPN and made a public statement that said, I'm going to HBCU.
Yeah,
that's what we need. That's what I mean.
We need that. So if he's #1, he goes to a HBCU. Now the wheels start turning. You know what I'm saying?
Hold up. May I say something, please? It's
changing minds.
What's up, brother?
That would help greatly. But the problem is, that young kid is probably poor and destitute. So he's going to go there because he's going to go where it's being fed. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not feeding him, he's going to go where the food is. We have to start feeding each other, feeding our own. And we haven't been doing that. We feeding everybody else, making sure everybody else eat.
I want to read some comments really quick.
Oh, that's thank you, Queen Bee. I was about to.
Okay. Katara Gardner says Washington says our athletes need to take their talents to HBCUs. That will make a difference. HBCUs need funding. Biggest issue is funding. States taking money. We move out of our community when we make it, though, and how many people return to their hometowns. That's kind of what Jarrell said. And then Janine said we have to plant a seed beginning with our own children within our community, basically like feeding hungry urban children teaching our sons and daughters things they don't teach us in school, having classes by urban professionals as to how to create a business. There are drug dealers on the streets that if we educate properly, we can teach them how to take over the business world. We need to create an organization to oversee the overseers. There needs to be background checks against police. And that's basically the comments right now.
We got one from Jason. So shout out to the show, Beards and Balls Head, right here on BKS1 Radio. He said the athletes would not suffer as far as athletic programs because now they will get sponsors from Nike and Adidas who will give money to the
Yep.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
I think, you know, just to bring it all back together, you know, Ricky said it a little earlier where we have a number of things that we work on at once. So we can't work on this without working on this. We can't work on this. We can't without working on this over here. What is our starting point? Where can we begin? Again, we're just having a conversation, you know, like-minded people having an intellectual conversation right now. But if we could come up with the plan, where is it can begin? What is our starting point? What do you think about that?
It's difficult for me to say what one singular starting point is, right? Because my initial thought would be, okay, we have to start with education, right? Start with the education system from the bottom up, right? But if we just start with education, what happens at the top? Does it get crushed from the top if we start from the bottom? So that's the question. It's almost hard to say pick one.
I think it would be wise of us to like break it down community wise, like across the board. We have like meetings, like so we can find out who we have in our communities, what resources we have in our community, who does what, who knows what, knows who, you know what I mean? Like, and figure out what we have. We don't even know what we're working with. So I think if we started to do that, nah, we heard about him. He touched the kids. Nah, bro, you can't. You know what I mean? Like we know who is who. That's what I mean by policing our community. We come together as a community. Each and every small community, every town. Yo, we got a town hall meeting. They had meetings. KKK had meetings. We need meetings. Like they have little. You understand what I'm saying? Like that's what we need to start. We need to start meeting.
Yeah, that's what I said. I know they do. They used to send me the newsletters when I was the only Black family in town. I used to get the newsletters about how they shouldn't talk to me in the grocery store. I was a mix between a rat and a demon.
Oh.
So, you know, don't talk to the family when you see them because so they're very well organized.
We need to get organized.
I had a committee that called my house and get out. You know what I mean? Then they had the committee that would follow me home, you know, from the grocery store with their Confederate flag on their truck. So they were very well organized. I can attest to their organization.
We got blocks. I want to do everything. Like, hey, it's 3 houses on this block. Yo.
But we can't stop, right? Because people don't remember that what we're talking about in policing your own neighborhood, that was the original intent of the Crips. The original intent of the Crips was to police the police in their own neighborhood. But then it went astray because it got greedy. People at the top of the organization got greedy themselves, and now boom, it turns into something else. You know what I'm saying? So it's that, but then also on the reverse end of understanding who's in our community, on the negative side, is the organization and understanding who's in your community on the positive side.
Right.
Who does what? You know what I'm saying? Because for whatever reason,
we need to know both though.
We need to know both. For whatever reason, Black people don't like to talk about what they do. They don't like to talk about what. I mean, and I'm guilty myself. I didn't know what Seth did, and we darn near best friends. I didn't know what he did for 2 years of hanging out with him on a weekly basis.
Yeah. So you thought he was Tommy for a little bit?
Yeah.
It's still his nickname every now and then, even though I know what he does now. But it's still his nickname. You ain't got no job, Tommy. But it's the same thing with me. Some of my best friends didn't know what I was doing, where I was headed, because I just didn't talk about it. You know, I think we just have this thing about us that I gotta go get mine.
Absolutely. We weren't like that before. We were not. I don't know if y'all remember, but even I just remember in my just community, you know, I grew up single parent, you know, single mom or whatever, but I just remember, and I grew up with all boys. So I just remember like fathers that be like, get that boy, you know, put him on the truck, you know, with me. And I just remember everybody felt like somebody's kid was some, if you wasn't, look, your dad ain't been around, he can't go into the game, I'm gonna take you to the game, and I'm going now. They'd be like, no, worry about yourself. Right. You know, I am just gonna say this, I'm gonna add to what you're saying. I need us to infiltrate leadership. When I tell you, like, I need us, I am so frustrated with us not being councilwomen and councilmen, and with us not being lawyers and doctors, and it sounds corny, but lawyers, doctors, and judges, and I need us to infiltrate. I need y'all, and I'm not saying, listen, everybody want their kid to make them a way out, right? I get it. Y'all keep putting footballs in these kids' hands, and you keep putting basketball in these kids' hands, and you won't put a book and say, nope, I need you to be a lawyer. I need you to be a doctor. I need you to infiltrate the elite. Like, I get it. He's skilled. Great. You know, he can palm a ball and dunk and do all that, right? You can, okay. You know, you the next whoever in football. I mean, there's so many names I can think of. I just won't. You that. Okay, great. But no one is saying, I need you to be a councilwoman or councilman. For starters, I need you to be a senator. I need you. That's the problem we have.
Can we stop right there real quick? Because you just touched on something for me. We don't raise our kids the way we should be in the first place. Okay. Like, bottom line. Like, a lot of parents don't even know their kid. You don't know your kid lazy. You don't know your kid is smart in this, you know, or is bored in his math class. That's why he fell in. I mean, no, you know what? Because we got everybody is so, when I say the Black community is so self-consumed all the way down to the mother. I'm tired. I need a break. I can't take y'all. That's your job. Yeah. That's your job. What happened? Shoot. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You take over.
No. You know what? Because we talk all the time. Oh.
No.
How? Wait.
Like, okay. 18, you got to get out. Why? Where am I going?
Where are we going? Where?
I don't have any property. I don't have credit, Mom.
You about to make me break a nail. You about to make me break a nail. You about to make me break.
But this is some of the things that we like. You know, it wasn't taught to us. So some of the things we don't know, we don't understand. But I need y'all to get off
I promise you.
TV stuff.
I promise you that I never understood. I have a 21-year-old and I have an 18-year-old, right? Mm-hmm. I never understood. And don't get me wrong, my mother raised us, and I'm not saying this as like a proud thing, but I'm saying my mother raised us that, yeah, after 18, you get out. Like you said, where are we going and how productive am I going to be?
Don't know anything.
I don't know anything. I don't know. You wonder why I got 800 credit cards, because I can't afford anything that I have, let alone the rent that you want me to be, you know, have my own place in.
But why? First of all, you're sending them out in the world to pay rent. You're not even sending them out in the world for ownership.
Yeah.
Nothing.
You can't own anything. Like, what do we have?
You know what that is? That is an old boomer.
I'm sorry, hold on. There was a bar that you dropped. Can you say that again?
So you sending them out to pay rent and you behind on your rent.
Make it make sense.
Make it work. People.
I'm out.
Oh God.
Yeah, right. Mic drop. I said that was a bar right
there. Look, I'm gonna head on out.
See, this is what I was going to say. I was going to incorporate, you know, what Jarrell was saying, and I was going to incorporate what B was saying. When you're saying, you know, you were around Seth, but you didn't know what he did, and you said you were guilty of it yourself because you never really talked about it. And B was talking about what happened to, you know, we had community. That is, for me, that is the basis. That is the basis. This is the thing. If B is my best friend, and I already know I can go to wherever she go. Yusef is one of my best friends. I already know I pop up at their houses at any given time, like, bruh, you know what I mean?
What you got to eat?
When I didn't have money, I was like, what y'all got on my gas? Y'all got, because I got to go to work. You know what I mean? So my thing is, we don't have a sense of community. If we had a sense of community, it would solve a lot of our basic problems. One of the conversations I have with B all the time is even marriages. There was a point in time where Gladys would be in the kitchen with Shirley and Bruce was out in the garage with Carl, and he would say, you know what, Carl, you might not want to cheat on her. You got a good woman. Carl would be sitting there listening to Bruce because he knows Shirley, because half of us don't even know who they dating. That's my business. I don't know.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, when there was a sense of community and you knew people, you knew families, you knew spouses, you knew children, you knew relationships. These are things that we knew with each other as a people. We don't know that anymore. Number one, you better not show up at your friend's house. You know what? Forget that. Almost cursed. Forgive me. Ooh. But not only you better not show up at my house, you better not even call me before you text me first. Don't call me.
She got me. She got me.
But for people who are your friends and family, and granted, with what you do, again, I work in entertainment too.
You gotta protect yourself.
Yeah, my 9 to 5 is entertainment, so everything is entertainment. So I get that. You gotta separate.
No, y'all, no, it's bad. I protect myself against my own nana. I know she got like 2 more years left. Pick up the phone. Call your nana. Why you like that?
You know what? You're terrible. You're terrible. But I'm just using that as an example. We don't have a sense of community. Everything, this is your business. That's their business. You better not tell that. We're not
divided.
We can't help each other. Again, if you don't know what he do, you can't help him. If he don't know what you do, if you have a business, how are you promoting the business and telling all of your friends about it to support your friend or family member if you don't even know what they do? So how do we?
I gotta say this real quick. I'm sorry, because it just got something to me. A lot of times though, I'm gonna keep it a buck. We do things just because this is our hustle. We know we can. We're not passionate about it. We're not. So we it's something that we need to own too. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we need to take some ownership too. Hey, how come your boutique isn't selling? Sis, you can't dress. You can't dress. Your style is bad. Why don't you try something else? We gotta be 100 with it. Sis, you my blood sister. I see you out here acting a fool in your house with your husband. Come here, let me talk to you. We don't own
that. Of course.
But we need that. But instead of telling everybody to mind your business, your kid's bad as hell, and you telling everybody don't say nothing to them. And
absolutely.
That, we need community, and that is what I'm talking about. We need.
You know what we're missing? I'm gonna tell you what we're missing a lot.
The nanas.
Sorry, gentlemen, but we're missing a lot of the big mamas. We're missing that kind of love. Like that was given to me. I'm young with big mama love. Like I'll go outside and I don't care who you are, shoot me, snap me. I don't care what's up, what we doing. I'm gonna tell you what it is.
We got
that's not. This is. People don't have heart. Everybody's scary. I don't want to be sued. Oh, I don't want this. That. Nah, what's up? What we doing?
But I'm gonna be honest with you. Back in the day, when we checked the person's kid, you didn't have to fight the parent. Right. So there's because let me tell you, there's people in the neighborhood, they will beat you and then bring you home. All right. Right now, I promise you, you say something to somebody, kid, and they could be dead wrong. Dead wrong. Like, he's about to lose his life, sis. I'm just trying to tell him. You know what they do? You know what they do? They will fight you.
And that's cool. But this is a part of police in the community. We need a meeting. This happened in our community.
I mean,
we need mediation. It's so many things.
So it's the big mama figure, but it's also the role of a man.
Mm-hmm. As well. I agree.
Right.
Absolutely.
What you say? What you say?
You heard what I said, because it's something we talk about all the time.
You need to reiterate that for the people in the back.
In our community, right? So unfortunately, a lot of Black children only see a certain image or a couple of images of a Black man in their community. It's the drug dealer and it's the athlete. So that's what they aspire to be. And then they don't have the Black man in the community that wants to take the time to mentor them. Listen, I'm just as busy as the next guy. I work a full-time job. I got, between the two of us, 4 kids. 4 kids are my own. But I'm still taking the time to go coach basketball and football for these kids. I'm that guy. I threw a kid in the garbage can one day in front of his mother at basketball practice and explained to him that this is what the world thinks of you, son. The rest of the world outside of this basketball court thinks that you're trash and you're going to be nothing because your father isn't here in the first place and you grew up in Plainfield and you live in the inner city. That's what they think. So I'm going to be here to do this to you to let you see how it feels before you get out there and they throw you behind in jail because this is the way you want to act. Now, mom, what's up? This is why I did it to your kid.
Yep. But that
so we're not there because they will. They're gonna test the woman. They're gonna test in this day and age for whatever reason. These kids are gonna test Big Mom. Even if you are that grandmother, auntie type of person, they're gonna test you. Yeah. There's not too many of them that's gonna test me.
Right.
There's not too many of them that's gonna test Seth. That's why we out there. We don't have enough of us out there that care enough about these kids to take the time because we so busy and we so self-consumed with what I got to do and how much money I can make to not realize that we losing the kids coming right after.
Right.
We do.
Let me add to that.
You hear me?
We need the support of the women. The women have to support that man, and that's right. And we're missing that. You know, I'm quite sure there are more men. There are more men that want to. There are more men that want to be involved, but they got to fight the mother.
So look, here's what we're getting. The new moms or baby moms or ex-wives or whomever, the new women have been raised from Big Mama, who's tired, right? Who was tired of raising them, and sometimes Big Mama raised them, and she real tired. So she ain't have nothing to give. She tired. She this, she that, and the third. She put that into the new generation. So then now the new generation is born tired. Like the Black women, I am born tired. At 10 years old, I'm 10. It's 4 of us. We gotta go to grandma's house so mommy can work because daddy not here.
Mm-hmm.
We on a bus. I'm on a bus from East Orange to Orange. I'm 10 with 4 little kids. I'm tired. Today I'm tired. But now I still gotta sacrifice. I still gotta figure out. I never saw a healthy relationship for real in real life, like up close. Mm-hmm. I mean, I had Aunt Trina and Uncle Bush. That was cool from far away. But I ain't see their struggles. I ain't see they argue. I ain't see them make up and get back together. I ain't see none of that. So
their triumph.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So we're learning these things now. We're in 2020. I'm learning healthy love. That's crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy, but it's real. It's so real. So we thank you guys.
This age of
awesome. Bye-bye.
This age, we have to be like you were saying. We got to be more transparent. We got to stop painting this picture of a perfect relationship, a perfect marriage. You're gonna have the ups and downs, the ins and outs, the fallouts, the fall-ins. We got to be very clear and transparent about that because a lot of people, a lot of relationships are failing because we have these unrealistic expectations of each other.
Well, Yusef, I just want to say this because so I tell you all the time I grew up with boys. You guys know that story. But what I was taught by my mom, who wasn't the girliest girl in the world, so I didn't learn a lot of femininity from her because again she had to raise, she had to raise us, and who better to do that than some strong Black woman with less femininity, right? So what I was taught was, and I'll tell you just one thing that I was taught that my daughter actually taught me was different, was that I was told not to cry, right? And I know boys are taught that, right? That's one thing. But I was taught literally anytime. I was a crier when I was a kid. I don't have any tears now. I really don't. And it's sad because I literally was taught by my mother not to cry. So I tried to pass that same quality down to my daughter. Why? Because I was under the impression that if I cried, it showed weakness, right? If I cried, then that would allow someone to take advantage of me. I was not taught that crying was actually healing. I was not taught that your kid has to see you broken at some point so they know that when they're broken, that they need to repair themselves, right? I was not taught that. So I literally tried. These millennials is different. I tried to pass that. And my daughter looked at me like, I'm a crier. Mm-hmm. You yell and you get angry. I'm a crier. That's what I do. And she was the one who made me look at tears in a different way. Because while I'm sitting here trying to not show them any sense of weakness, what I deem to be weak, when it's no. I remember being married before, and my husband at the time was like, no one wants to be married to a man. Mm-hmm. And it is because, and me and Yusuf have gone to conversations with this because I exemplify what a man or what just this hard, whatever, because I thought that's how I was supposed to maneuver against the world. That is the breakdown of the Black woman and Black man. Honestly.
I constantly say, hey, yo, man up. This one said, hey, man down, bro. Like, I got it. Put the garbage down, sis. Like, what are you doing?
Like, that's me. That's what I was taught.
We were raised kind of sort of the same.
Yes.
I didn't, we can't cry at funerals and things like my daughter did the same for me. And I thank God for these, like you said, millennials. My daughter came to me and said, hey, man, I need a hug, bro. And I'm like, hey, bro, well, hug yourself. She said, no, I need you to hug me. Like, you don't hug me. I said, hug yourself. Hug yourself. She said, man, you don't hug me. She said, I don't love the same way you love. You got to listen to how I love and love me like that. Woo! I said, oh. It made me, I think something like that or a piece of that helped me in my relationship because, and you need to figure out how other people love.
Because you know what we keep doing, Ricky? We keep creating the same versions of us. And so if we continue this, there is going to be no room for the Black man. It's going to be no room for them to mend us or them to just work with us or because honestly, it took me, Yusuf will tell you, it took me a really long time. I was conditioned. Like, you couldn't have told me that I wasn't as strong as a man. You couldn't have told me.
I'll fight a man. What's up?
Me too.
What's up? What's up?
So the Black man, and let's throw a spin on that, right? So the Black community often is so extremely religious. Right? We use religion as a blanket to all of the swords that we actually have that we want to expose, right? So parents oftentimes use this scripture to death and incorrectly. That they say they use the scripture of train up a child in the way that they should go when they're apart from it, right? Something you just said is that we keep creating mimics of ourselves in the previous generation, right? That's using that scripture incorrectly. To use that scripture incorrectly, if you listen to it, it says, train up a child in the way that they should go.
They should go. Yes.
Not that I want you to go, not the way that I win, but in the way that they should go. Right? So we use this stuff, we use scripture, which ironically is the same way that
the slave masters,
that slavery was created and progressed by using scripture in an incorrect term, right? And then what did they do to the one? Which is what's happening right now with riots. What they did to the one, Nat Turner, who realized, no, I can read this for myself, and that's not really what it says. There was an uprising, they killed him. So now that's what happened. We're starting to communicate to the rest of the world and the country that this is not the way that this should go. So now we have uprising, the riots, but now what's going to happen next?
When you say the way that they should go, that makes sense, right? The way that they should go. But right. But the parent don't know the truth. That is a major problem. The kid don't know the parent don't know the kid. What are we doing here?
But let's be real. Not to cut you,
go
but
ahead.
let's be real.
I want to throw something in there though.
Okay. Let's be real quick, Yusuf. I didn't realize until COVID happened our lifestyles, right? Our lifestyles of working a lot, not being home, and literally coming home to cook and talk to them for a little bit and do it all over again. We lost again the family type thing. We don't sit at the dinner table no more. Right. You understand? We don't, we work 40 hours plus. Sometimes we work 80 just to make ends meet. Who's losing? Someone's going to lose. The kids are going to lose. They're going to have everything we give them as far as clothes and everything, but they losing.
Why are we working like this? Why are we doing X, Y, Z, because we live way above our means.
Absolutely.
We're not being smart. They come over here.
I gotta push back. I gotta push back against that a little bit. Just a little bit though. Yes, a lot of us are living kind of above our means, right? But what are our means? Our means are menial.
Our means are
the average wealth, not income now, because we have increased our income, but our net wealth is $2,000 compared to that of the average white family, which is worth $125,000, $150,000. So the black parents are constantly in a rat race, constantly at work, don't have downtime. How are they to get to know their children? They don't have money for vacations. We're not taking vacations every year. You know what I'm saying? So when do we have that? Right?
We go to great adventures.
So the COVID thing happened. COVID happened. It was kind of like a blessing in disguise where we were able to take a step back and say, "Whoa, what is going on?"
Do we see how systematic this is, though? Because we had one person, we had one group of us one set of us talking about education. We had another set talking about now resources, right? So, Seth, what you're saying is that we don't necessarily have the resources to spend that time. So it's very, very systematic. We're not given the resources to then educate, to then pass on, to then be able to spend time and then complete that cycle. It's very systematic, right? So the only opponent to systematic oppression is systematic organization. To be able to organize and systematically analyze where are these systematic loopholes that we continue to fall into, and how do we address them? Who understands them? Who can fit into these slots where we can address how it's systematically oppressing, our community. So we have to realize that although it's systematic oppression, we have to systematically analyze and attack. But that's not what we do, right? We worry about our own home, we worry about our own house, and then what happens? Once the kids move out, once we got our decent job that, like Seth was saying, we make more money than we used to. What do we do with it?
Right. But our agenda then is different. Sorry, Toy. Our agenda is different too, because what I realized, and I had this conversation today with somebody, I will tell you that sometimes we've given our kids more than what we had, right? So we like you said, Pretty Ricky, the hug and the loves and stuff, it's funny because our kids do need that, right? But what we will do is we'll give them the latest sneaker, we'll buy him the latest coat, and we'll do all this stuff. We give them what we didn't have, but we miss all the other things, that comes with that. So I have an issue with parents and just our people in general. Like you said, we need to do some house cleaning. And I just have a problem with what we are pouring into our kids and what we're not pouring into our children.
Absolutely.
It's the simplest of saying. It's like an old saying is that if you take a horse, you need a horse to water, you can't make him drink. You can teach it. You can bring a man fish, but can he go and fish after? You teach him how to fish. That's what we're not.
That's the problem that we have in this generation. Right. That's the problem. We're not we do everything for our children.
Yep.
And the thing is that what made us is struggle, right? And I'm not saying, hear me, I'm not saying that it's okay for us to struggle. Or I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that we took that element of struggle out from them. Yeah. And what made us thrivers and go-getters and hustlers and all of that other stuff is what we lacked, right?
But it's not just the struggle, it's the teaching of character as well.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Even for those that did not struggle, your parents taught you different. Your parents taught you to want more for yourself. Your parents taught you to be an addition to the family, to be an addition to the culture. You know what I mean? So we used to teach our children character, that it wasn't just about them. It wasn't just about their latest sneaker. It wasn't about the car or whatever they drive or whatever they got on their wrist, but it was more about who you are as a person and what you had to give back to the rest of the community.
You know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry to cut you. I'm so sorry to cut you off. You keep hitting me with these things. I'm like, oh, girl. I found with that, I'm running into, my daughter doesn't have any friends because I raised her that way. So she'll get a friend, male or female, you know, like a romantic friend or just a regular friend.
She don't have no romantic friend.
Like if she tries to date, she doesn't get very far. With the friends, she doesn't get very far because there is lack of character out there, and it is scary.
But you know
I had to send my daughter a note one day, and I told her, I said, I know all of these people that you're meeting is unfamiliar to you because I raised my daughter basically how I was raised. So she's in a generation of people that literally she doesn't fit, right? So I told her, I know it's so unfamiliar to you, and I know it's hard to literally be in a world where I taught you character, and I taught you all of these things, and I taught you honesty, and I taught you loyalty, and I taught you all these things, but it's unfamiliar. But I had to tell her, keep being you. Keep being you. In a world that's so different.
She got a god brother. She got
you know what? You know, I think this happens to a lot of people because I'm guilty of it. I with everything that's going on right now in society, I even realized that, man, I'm not doing the greatest job, you know, or as good of a job as I could be as a Black father.
Of course, we all say that.
Because we were birthed out of struggle, right? So my parents struggled, we struggled, to the point that I didn't know that we were struggling. I didn't know that 2 Intamin's donuts was not a good breakfast.
I just said this the other day.
I didn't know that.
Y'all did a survey and someone said that wasn't, or
that's a great breakfast. I'm hungry right now. Think about it.
What I'm saying is
that's so normal to us, though.
Right. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that that's not considered a good breakfast. They made it great, even coming out of struggle. But so I later learned, oh crap, we had breakfast for dinner because pancake mix is $1.49.
Yes.
As opposed to the pack of chicken that's $12.
You gonna feed a whole family with that.
So, right. I didn't know all of that, right? So once I got older and I realized, okay, this is why that's happening. Okay, there's my drive. My drive was birthed out of understanding the struggle that my parents go through and what I went through, right? So then I go to school, I go to work, I go back to school, I go to work. I'm doing well for myself. I live in you know, a decent neighborhood, a decent area where my kids go to school in a good school system.
Good.
Right.
Good equaling white. Okay?
Yes.
And I realized that I wasn't doing a great job as a father when all of this happened, and my almost 11-year-old son had no idea and had no clue why people were freaking out. What's the problem? I don't understand. Why do I need to pay attention when his white friends, when I had to pay attention to his white friends that once they got around their dad wouldn't say bye, Micah. And my son's eyes welled up with tears, that he didn't understand struggle. He didn't understand systematic racism that I understood at the age of 5 when I went to elementary school, and there was on the sidewalk written, "Go home, nigga." So he doesn't understand it because, you know what? I made it. I made it. So now I can chill and just give my kids these finer things of life.
And let them live.
Let them live.
But you can't do that.
Understand it.
But you
And
can't do
that. That's what started to happen. So this may be a blessing in disguise that in the middle of us starting to make it, starting to get it, that we have no choice but to explain to them where we've come from, what the struggle is now, and how we're going to get better.
So we got to have the conversations, right? The conversation.
Even more so than the conversation, you have to expose them. Because I mean, everybody knows that growing up, I had not my boys when I was raising them. I mean, they're 18 and 23 now, so I'm still kind of, But anyway, when I was married, you guys know, like I just told you, we were the only Black family in our neighborhood in Pennsylvania. So when everybody else was riding on their John Deere tractors and my children were the only Black children, in the school, and we're riding and we're waving too. And then the little boy pushes my son at the water fountain and says, I wish they still had the same rules for brown people that they used to have. Now,
I'm sorry.
They can't. It starts right now.
My child knows nothing about that. My child knows, he don't know anything about that. I grew up in Plainfield, but we got married. We moved away. We left. We moved to a good, like you say, a good white neighborhood in a good white school system. And it was a great area. And then my child was sitting there like, well, I don't really know why. Like, why understand it? And so one of the main things, and it was funny because we had to have that conversation back then. I mean, again, he's 23 now, but it was about creating a well-rounded individual, because you don't want to create a Black boy who's so out of touch that he doesn't know where he stands with the rest of the world.
That he voted for Donald Trump. That he a Kanye. Never mind. I'm gonna chill.
Or like this. What is it? The senator.
Yes, Kentucky.
In Kentucky, right? Who got engaged this weekend? That's
don't start like.
But he with all of his people, So again, you want to elevate your children. You want them to have more than what you have, and not just in material things, but in experiences too. We took our children on vacation. My children are very well traveled. My children have a lot of different experiences, but it's very important that as a parent that culturally you expose them to all sides. It can't just be this new side that we now know. It has to be all sides.
I'm gonna tell you the conversation I had with my son when I came home, and he brought up the instance that happened with George. He was very upset. He's 13. He's 13 years old. He was very upset, and he's very in tune with like people and his feelings. Like he's that kind of kid. Like he's an empath. Did I say it right?
Empath. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, him. That y'all. I was schooling. Sorry, don't do that. Anywho, and he, he was very concerned and passionate about what was going on. And I talked to him, and I had a real conversation with him, and I let him know, and all the rest of our kids know, that if I'm ever out in the street, minding my business, whatever the case may be, in a situation like that happen, I'm gonna stand up. So if I don't come home, I want y'all to carry the torch. And I'm that. He poor thing. Y'all pray for him. He know I'm just that radical. I done jumped in it. Like, what we doing? Where we going? What's up? I don't know what's gonna happen next. But I don't understand how people are standing around. How can you stand and watch it? I could never. How can you stand? I don't care who you were. What your role was in that moment, in that time. And I know it had to happen so that it could create and it could ignite this uproar. And I'm glad we are where we are today. But hey, it's time to stand up. Everybody. Yeah. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
And let me tell y'all what happened the other day. Like, I literally was at McDonald's parking lot getting the kids some stuff. We was about to go to the beach. And this guy, literally, I'm parked a certain way. I don't see that he's beeping, but he literally proceeds, a person of, a different persuasion, calls me out my name, calls me a B. Right? Because I didn't hear his horn, and I didn't know, like, he was talking to me. I get out the car, and I'm already hyped. I am not. I tell y'all all the time. I'm very peaceful now. I am. I'm very peaceful now. More peaceful than I probably could ever be. But when I tell you I blacked out, and I didn't say not one curse word to this man, I blacked out. First of all, I don't know I don't know if you forgot the climate right now, but you are not. First of all, I got 3 kids right there. You're not going to call me out my name in front of no one. No kid. And then you have your son with you. Don't you ever. By the time I got finished with him, he was like, I'm so sorry. This time I said, I don't even accept your apology. I don't. And I'm telling you, and I had another incident the other day, and I just feel like number 1, number 2, number 3 happens is going to end a different way, because right now I'm just not stable. I'm not right. I'm not right about it all. I'm tired of we supposed to stay in this little place, and we're not supposed to do this. We're not supposed to feel this. We're not supposed to, you can talk to us any type of way. We can't, the post. We can't walk. We can't jog. We can't we can't do any. I'm tired. So y'all, if y'all see me, and it's so funny because our friend who plays Suge Knight, he actually was behind me in the car. He got out the car. And this is what I love about black men. As soon as I got out the car to say something to dude was behind me like, I got this. Well, and started going in. And he ain't wrapped too tight either.
No, he's not. But
he's not wrapped too tight either.
To Marcos Taylor, friend of the show.
Yeah. So shout out to him, who literally had me, who literally I didn't have to say as soon as I got out the car, he was like, sis, I got this. So thank you for being a protector.
Yeah,
that part. I do want to say this with everybody stepping up and the gentlemen stepping up and so forth and so on. Even with my newfound love, I do feel a little more protected. I think the black men are starting to realize that, oh wow, they aren't protected.
Ricky,
I'm starting to see that a lot more.
Ricky, I'm gonna cut you real quick. I just want to say, some black men be protecting, but I'm gonna tell you, let them protect you, sis.
Oh no, yes.
Because we so used to protecting ourselves. We so used to, I don't need you. I stand up, whatever. Let them protect you.
No, I'm telling you, this whole new healthy love thing and so forth. So y'all pray for him. It honestly is changing me, and I feel the growth, and I'm so proud of this because our children get to witness healthy love, and it is beautiful. We had family meetings. We break down instances like we live out loud, laugh out loud, love out loud, and it is a beautiful thing. And I'm very excited to be a part of it.
Well, listen, I feel like honestly that, like I said, when I talk about community and I talk about black love, honestly, that's the foundation. And I say it on this show all the time. You cannot have black economics. You cannot have black businesses. You cannot have everything we say we want until you have that mutual respect and love between a black man and a black woman. You're not going to have a black family unless you have that mutual love and that mutual respect. So I think that's a wonderful thing. Unfortunately, we are coming to the end of our show. So we are going to have to do this again soon and very soon. Again, we are continuing this conversation because it is very important. At this point, it's imperative. At this point, we can't not talk, and eventually at some point in time in this conversation we're going to have to put things into action. I think it's now that we are brainstorming, and I think it's great now that we are getting like minds. So when it's time for the revolution, and we be like, all right, you do this.
I'm ready.
Did it in detail. We had this conversation. Y'all teach the class on relationships. You teach the class on this. Brother Green, you got this. When it's time for that to happen, we've already had the conversation, already been discussed. We already know our strong points. We are creating that sense of community now, and I feel like it definitely needs to continue. But as for right now, we have these conversations in an effort to try to make changes in our community. And again, we have to continue it, moving forward. Thank you so much to you guys. Thank you so much, Ricky. Jarrell, thank you guys so much for joining the show today. Mr. Green, it is a pleasure to have you and your frame of thought on the show as usual. Queen Bee, we got to keep doing it. This is our contribution. Everybody has a contribution. Everybody has a lane. This one is ours. And so we know we have a responsibility. We have to continue it on ourselves. Again, thank you guys so much for, everybody that's watching from home, everybody that watches every single Tuesday from 7 to 8:30 on BKS1 Radio and whatever outlet you all are watching us on. Everybody that made comments, everybody that love, whatever. Thank you guys so much. But again, eventually these conversations will have to turn into action. And we are going to have to make some changes. I love you all. Thank you so much. Ricky Jarrell, let me know when you're doing your couple show. I did watch. It was awesome. I loved it.
Yes.
So again, Queen Bee, any final thoughts?
I just want to tell Jarrell and Pretty Ricky, thank you. The conversation is definitely much needed. I'm glad that we had these talks. It's something I will, some gems you guys both spit today that gave me a lot to think about. So I really, really, really appreciate the conversation from you guys today.
Mr. Green, any final thoughts?
Well, I'd like to just take a moment to express the passing of a great woman who influenced me to be the man who I am, who instilled in me the sense of community and family, who recently passed. Miss Harriet Down from Linden, New Jersey. For all the family out there, they probably know them. She was a great woman, and I'm a product of her environment. And I just want to let y'all know that we got to start building politically, economically, and culturally. That's it.
All right, Ricky Jarrell.
Oh, you're bro.
Thank you guys. We just want to say thank you for having us on. This was an awesome time. And we got to, I got to learn some things and hear some things. And I thought it was really, really cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us. I think the dialogue is necessary. But I think as you continue to stress that after we dialogue, the hope is that it jogs and triggers thought of what can I do, right? Because we can do this thing as a big community, but we each have to be able to take time and see what we can contribute to it. So hopefully the thought triggers thoughts. It definitely did for me. What can I do, as well as some others who may have been listening, watching, and so on and so forth. Of what can I do to apply it and take action? So
Absolutely. All right. Well, listen, again, for everybody that watched, for everybody who listened, however you did it, we thank you guys so much. Thank you for being here tonight. For all of our guests. The conversation will continue next week, same time, same place. This is BKS1 Radio, the Owwh Show. It is your girl, Chanel Norm. If you're listening, Jeff, if you're listening, I don't even know if y'all are on here or not. Y'all can go ahead, play the music, cue it up, because I have a drink. Okay. And we will see you all soon. We love you guys.
Love you, Norm. Love you, Queen. Love you, sis, bro.
Love you.